Hi there, and welcome to my video on 7 great nymphs for trout. In this video, I'll be reviewing my 7 best nymphs based on their success rates, features, and benefits. In the number 7 position is my Caddis Larvae, sometimes called the rockworm. While it's not a real fish catcher per se, its benefits are certainly weight, being that it's got a tubing with wire pushed through it, a tungsten bead, lead wraps. It can really help to get other nymphs, especially tag nymphs, down where it can serve more as an attractor that will lead fish to strike your other flies. Next up is my olive nymph, which is designed to imitate blue-winged olive nymphs. Its numbers are a little underwhelming, but mostly because I didn't get a chance to fish it in the early season or now in the late season. It is a very effective nymph, especially when tied in small sizes 16 or lower. Next up is a nymph no one can be without. The zebra midge is the quintessential dropper fly for anybody running a dry dropper rig. I tie mine in the classic zebra midge style. I also tie it in a quill body version, usually with a glass bead. Occasionally I will put a heavier metal bead on to try and get it down lower. Next up is the hot wire prince nymph. And this has always been a successful nymph for me, especially with the soft tackle creating a lot of action in the water. It's very heavily weighted, so you can use it as a fly that will help get your other nymphs down low. This one here is usually tied in different colors, occasionally as a copper, occasionally in green or gold or even red, to imitate whatever happens to be in the water. The real benefit of the hot wire is that it's a great off-color water fly because it has so much flash in it. It really can draw the fish's attention, and whether they strike it or something else is always helpful. Next up is the Pheasant Tail nymph, which I tie in both styles. The classic, which you see on the right, and the bead head, which you see on the left. Both will get a little bit of weight added to them in the form of lead wraps, but they generally are tied in as a dropper. Even in a tight line nymphing rig, they're my bottom dropper fly, and they're just something that seems to attract fish, especially in kind of the early days of summer. In the number 2 position is the midlife Flysis never fail stonefly nymph. I fish this nymph a lot. It is on basically every tight line nymphing rig that I use. It serves not only a great purpose as an attractor fly, fish take it very often, but it also is a fly I can build in a lot of weight, and that will help me to get my other flies down, especially pheasant tails or dog's breakfast nymphs, that will help them to get down low to where the fish are hiding out. So it's definitely a great fly and has really proven itself useful over the last few years. In the number 1 position is the midlife Flysis dog's breakfast nymph. This is a nymph that I created in the spring of this year, just cleaning spare materials off of my tying bench. The tail is made out of mallard flank. The abdomen is made out of stripped peacock quill, and that is coated in like UV resin. The legs are pheasant tail. The thorax is made out of peacock herl. And depending on what I need the fly for, I'll either tie it with a bead head or I'll tie it in kind of a classic pheasant tail style without it. They can both be weighted with additional lead wraps. But again, it's a multi-purpose fly, so I tie it differently depending on whether I want it as a dropper on a dry fly rig or a dropper with some weight on a tight line nymphing rig. It's just an incredibly successful and versatile fly, imitating a lot of mayfly species, and it's pushed the pheasant tail out of the rotation on a lot of days.